Nimrod was the first ruler of mankind after the flood. He was the son of Ham, who was in turn the son of Cush. Nimrod was the first man to be worshipped after the flood. He was the first to defy the Father and talk to spirits. Nimrod encouraged his people to not scatter as God had advised. He also began the secret societies that rule the world today. Nimrod lived in Cush after his father, with his father and sister Semiramis. Nimrod left with Semiramis, and later he married her. They went to the plain of Shinar and built Babylon. The beginning of his empire was Babel, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh. Nimrod displaced Asher, who built Nineveh. Nimrod is said to be warlike in his disposition and ambitious for glory that result from valor. His followers were trained in laborious exercises and hardships to prepare them for warfare. At that time, Nimrod worshipped his father Cush as Baal. He also worshipped his sister/wife Semiramis as the goddess of fortifications. Nimrod began to become a Gabor, or a mighty one. This is when he took on non-human traits, flying being one of them. Nimrod was also known as the Horned One. He rid the world of animals like lions and bears, but his biggest, most celebrated victory was over the bull. The bull can overpower all other animals in the bush. This win was so significant that the bull's horns became his crown. The word Gabor applies to Nephilim and Rephaim. Nephilim means fallen, and Rephaim means the dead or undead, if you know what I mean. The secret that Nimrod and his queen discovered may have involved drinking blood and cannibalism. Both activities are practiced by certain religious groups today. Nimrod was known as the Hidden One. He was also the first horseman, the first to break and ride horses. The centaur was invented to commemorate Nimrod. His army was a company of mounted archers. The Greeks recognized the fact that the centaur was the first horseman. Nimrod, being the father of both nomadicism and mounted archery, became highly respected in Central Asia. Many tribes trace their origin back to Nimrod. The story of the stag recalls an event in the life of Nimrod. The story goes that one day Nimrod's army faced death by thirst. Then a ram appeared. Nimrod followed it to water. Hercules, whom was just another example of Nimrod's story, was the father of the royal Scythians. The mother was a woman with a snake on the bottom half and a woman on the top half. Hercules left his bow and returned to his labors. Finally, at the end of Nimrod's life, he returned to Babylon. The serpent is worshipped universally as the symbol of the sun. The Tower of Babel was a radio transceiver. The burnt sand bricks acted like a quartz crystals and a ham radio, so Nimrod can communicate with the spirit world. Nimrod's death was well documented. Throughout his reign, Nimrod preached that no one can convert others to their religion. People should be free to worship as they please. On punishment of death, this law was enforced throughout his empire. Nimrod told Shem that he could not worship the God that brought the flood. So he was sentenced to death by the 21 judges. He was torn apart and the pieces were burned and scattered throughout the land.